Hey everybody, this is Spectral Sailor. I'm Rosie. Jason's with me. And we have Bigfoot Anonymous, aka Connor Flynn, in the
Hey guys,
house. How's
what's
it
up? What's
going?
up? Glad to be here. I'm very glad to be here.
I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Let me move you over here where you look bigger. All right.
I'm Connor Flynn. I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio. I'm an explorer. I'm a writer. I referee sports. I work at a comic book shop right now. I also collect things and sell autographs. I'm just a man of many trades. I just play guitar by the creek and, just try to be an earthling at my simplest form. But, the modern day society makes me do some of these things out and about. But, yeah, it all started in Ohio, and now I live down in Florida. I lived out of my car, but now I live in the Panhandle. And, I'm keeping busy during this pandemic, and I'm just trying to inspire others to not be scared to go outside and not be scared of the dark. Even though there are monsters out there, we can learn from them. They might be our ancestors, and that's my whole thing, is our bridge to our creator might be in the woods. It's magical.
I like that. The bridge to the creator might be in the woods because I think that somehow that they might be linked to, like celestial beings, the Titans, um, like
The
the
Nephilim,
gods.
even, the darker
Yeah, the Nephilim.
entities, the Watchers. It's some crazy
Yeah.
stuff. I've definitely combined, the Bible and sci-fi movies because there's a little bit of truth in all factions of, art. There's so many ancient paintings of Jesus holding orbs that absorb the sunlight. It's just some magical stuff. There's UFOs in some of the most famous paintings of all time. We really just have to expand our minds because we're not just bodies. We are auras. We are electricity. It's electromagnetic fields are us, and there's so much energy that surrounds us. It's amazing. Coincidence is the only thing to never exist. Dragons, mermaids, giants, all of it. Three-headed monsters. It's all some kind of reality. We just have to find, the roots to it.
I'm just sharing it out right now, but I'm listening to what you're saying. If I share out, then other people will join in the watch or whatever. So Jason is a big Bigfoot fan, and he's actually working on a book too right now, which is what I kind of thought like he might be interested in, like seeing your books or whatever, and like maybe like hearing the insightful process of writing books or publishing books, and like how you do that kind of stuff.
Definitely. That's awesome. Where are you on the process right now? What are you writing?
Yeah, I've actually written a children's book while I'm in the process of writing my other book. I'm actually writing it all out before I type it up and then edit it and all that. So that's kind of my process right now.
Heck yeah, that's super awesome. What was the children's book about?
Yeah, it's called The Little Ghostly Ghost. And it's just about a little ghost that kids play with, and trying to make another insight on what we do, kind of like just a less scary version for kids, because kids are interested in ghosts too. So just making it more kid friendly.
I admire that, man. I've, of course, written out and plotted out like the scary ABCs and stuff, but it's been done so many times. I have to come with a perfect way if I'm going to go that way. But I would love to tell a children's story. I feel the same exact way. They're interested, and are people too, and they have just as much wonder as everybody else. So we do have to inform them as well, because sadly, these forces, they don't discriminate either. Dennis Martin, Jared Atadero, little kids are going missing too in the dense forests of the woods. So I hate to go dark with it, but any awareness is good awareness. If they're not even aware that these creatures or ghosts exist, then when they do encounter one, it could be shell shocking. But if they have a clue, that you can meet it halfway.
Yeah, for sure.
I think if there's any light version of a creature anyways, or a light version of the energies and the anomalies and the entities and the beings or elementals or celestials or whatever that we are chasing, then there's also the dark sides and versions of those anyways, because you can't have a light without a dark. You just have everything.
100%. there's always balance. Yep. Moon and sun, yin and yang.
Yeah, I totally agree. Oh, Linda, everyone's saying hi. Linda says hi. Irene says hi. Sydney says hi. Shannon says hi. Howard says hi. Adam says hi. Everyone says hi.
What's up, everybody?
So-
I'm Bigfoot Anonymous. I'm the loudmouth new guy on the internet. I hope you guys have gotten the hang of this or heard from me from the grapevines. To buckle your seatbelt because things get a little rowdy when I'm involved.
There's a question for you, and I don't know because it's an inside joke, but Sydney says, how do you feel about aquatic entities?
Yes, there's a lot of interesting ones, of course, just like the mermaids and the great serpents, but then there's the interesting ones from the Asian lore of those giant white figures that are hundreds of meters long. And then, of course, just going into Atlantis and all the hidden cities, even in the Great Lakes. I grew up on the Lake Erie, South Bay Best, the main serpent has been lurking those waters ever since I've been a young boy. I've been fishing down there, and there was a bounty for $100,000 for Bessie's head a long time ago after a bunch of fishermen went missing. So I definitely am aware of aquatic entities, even, the creature from the Black Lagoon and the swamp thing, and then the Atlantis man of Ohio River. I have definitely dove into my handful of aquatic entities. The Susquehanna seal and the bunny yip are two other ones that are weird beaver-like seal monsters of the fresh water, and they can pull you underwater and they drown you. It's definitely some hairy stuff. And when I go kayaking, I definitely come prepared for anything and everything. Down here in Florida, we have to watch out for the gators and the eel. So just even worried about the poisonous snake as well. So head is always on a swivel for cryptids and creatures alike.
I said, we have someone that said, are you sure it's Bigfoot and not a bear?
Yeah, I don't think bear can speak, because there's been a lot of recorded things of them actually having English chatter and then Native American language. And then I don't think bear can mate with human beings because these creatures have made children with humans. And they've kidnapped Bigfoot in Russia and, made children with her. And then there's also been male and female human beings taken into the Bigfoot world and then used to spread the seed, and just so there's less inbreeding, because that is when things start getting wild and there's war inside the clans. There's a lot of stories like the 50 years of Bigfoot over in Tennessee, the Carter farm. This old father, the grandfather, saved a young Bigfoot named Fox and then raised it. So he got to learn from it, and it had a family, and he got to learn the whole structure and how things went. There's some just great knowledge in that whole story. And a lot of people are still debating if it's a bear or Bigfoot, but the ones who know definitely know, because the truth is out there. There's a couple books right here, the Sasquatch Genome Study, 125 DNA samples, blood, sweat, hair. It always comes back human hybrid. Unknown male, the father DNA is unknown, and then it always comes back female DNA of the human. And then it came back Native American ancestry, South American, Asian. So it's so interesting once you dive into the DNA. But modern day science will never accept it because it's human hybrid. They say it's contaminated DNA. They want to make it like it's an animal. But they're a type of people. They are a species of intelligent earthlings. They might be the true beings of this planet, but they also might be descendants of the Watchers, of the fallen angels, of Satan and Lucifer himself. So there's a lot to it. The Bible talks about, David versus Goliath, behemoths. And then there's other stories that aren't in the Bible of like St. Christopher carrying little baby Jesus across a raging river. Well, St. Christopher was either a dog man or a giant. So, our Savior was a Bigfoot guy. And even the Mormon religion, Joseph Smith, he finds Cain in the 1800s. Cain is as tall as Joseph on a horse covered in hair. That doesn't make me a Mormon, but that should make every Mormon a Bigfoot phenomena. It's very interesting that, the Grand Shrek, Lord of the Rings, all of our pop culture leads to our brother in the forest. But, you know, they want to make a mockery out of it on TV. So it makes it hard for people like me that are really trying to cross the bridge, because I still have some of my best friends making fun of me. You know, oh, you believe in Sasquatch? No, I've gotten pictures of Sasquatch. You know, I've taken good images of their face. They've been watching me. They've thrown rocks at me. They've ran me out of the forest. My team member found their bones. You know, when they say there's no evidence, we found footprints. We found bones. I know people who have hair, twist offs, bunch of crazy stuff that, you know, would never be accepted by the modern academia, but modern academia turns a blind eye to a lot, and I don't. So come on, guys, let's just catch up with the truth. And I think it starts with conversations like this, you know?
Yeah, Linda wants to see your books.
Yes. My first book I wrote is called Erie Swamps Road Trip to Eden. And that talks about my journey going from Lake Erie down to the Florida swamp. I lived out in my car and stayed at marinas, national parks, 24-hour grocery stores, dead-end streets, you know, a couple of people I met on the road on my adventures. And then I moved down to Lakeland in 2017 when I was 24. I just kind of gave up on Ohio. My house sold. I was like, guys, I could move in with one of my friends and just make it work, or I can start something new. And I took the passenger seat out of my car, and I just lived out of my car and just made it work. And it was just so amazing what's happening. I'm still in Florida now. I've only been back to the Buckeye State once since, and I documented it. And the final chapter ends in Eden. Road trip to Eden. Me and Rosie were just talking last night for our sound check. I was going hiking at the Garden of Eden, one of the most strenuous hikes in Florida. And it's so sacred because 27 of the 28 trees in the Bible are found in that park. And then gopher wood, which Noah used to build the ark. It's some of the lightest but strongest wood in the world. It's found only there in the whole world. It's known as Torreya. The only place it grows is that region. And the good book says, Delta that breaks into four rivers. And of course, right there, Delta that breaks into four rivers. The only other place in the world, Siberia. Pretty cold over there. But
what's it called again?
The Garden of Eden Trail. And it's in Bristol, Florida.
That one wood, though, or whatever.
Oh, the wood. Yeah, it's known as Torreya. Torreya. And it's known as gopher wood. That's what Noah used to build the ark. And they found petrified pieces over there, and it's so magical. But we went hiking out there last night. We got some crazy pictures of wild tracks and orbs while we were taking pictures of the sunset over the river. It's right past the time zone line. So literally it's like time travel. I showed up to work an hour early today because my phone didn't go back to normal. It's so crazy, you know. It's a mind-bending trip, all of it. But we hiked at night down there that not a lot of people get to experience. We heard some strange noises, nothing too groundbreaking. Got some pictures of some big snakes, some baby snake, and a couple weird insects too. But just down the river, Torreya State Park is a plethora of Sasquatch sightings and dogman encounters. Stacy Brown, he was all over Animal Planet finding Bigfoot. Him and his father recorded thermal footage of an 8-foot tall creature there, and they say it's the best civilian footage to date because, of course, you know, the military bases, Fort Lewis, you know, they have clear footage of these monsters' faces, you know, clear as day. But civilian-wise, the Stacy Brown footage is probably the best, and it is crazy. We have found nests over there. Boulders. Stacy Brown is like my brother from another mother.
Yeah, he is pretty.
But we have a camping expedition here planned, and we're definitely going to get in touch.
I want to try to get him on the show. I want to interview him. I haven't asked him yet, but I'd like to interview him.
Yeah, he's the man. He's the man. But yeah, that's my first book, and then it gets followed up by Big Brother Bigfoot. And that first one is kind of like my diary, you know. This is my pride and joy, my hard research. The green one is what happened to me. This is when I took control. But some of the stories do go back to my childhood. it's about 16, 17 type creatures, Bigfoot type creatures that I've explored and investigated over my years, ranging from the skunk ape, Ocheesee Pond wildman, Susquehanna seal, Clear Lake creature, Ohio grassman, Honey Island swamp monster, the boogeyman over in Texas, the Mogollon monster, Big Bear monster in Big Bear Lake. I believe, Big Bear Lake, yes, there's Big Bear, but I think it's after the Sasquatch. Everything has been dumbed down for modern man, and we have to lie to ourselves. Like, George Washington wasn't the first president. Oh, our ancestors go back further than, Europe. And there's pyramids in the Everglades, and there's giant ones over in Georgia. No one's ever talking about the American pyramids and 10,000 mounds in Ohio and the giant bones found, So I'm ready to shake the pop up and, explode it all over this nonsense that has been going on, because people have, put the truth under the rug for too long. Are you guys familiar with the Kandahar giant? The story,
I'm not. What is that?
The Kandahar giant, I'm pretty sure it was in Iraq, in Kandahar. It's in the mountains, and they battled a giant, like 30-foot tall creature. And sadly, he killed some troops, but they ended up taking it down, and they took him. They took him in a helicopter, and there's been a ton of interviews from the soldiers that were there. And
it's like classified, probably, right?
It got declassified after. I don't know if it was officially declassified, but it got leaked, and now it's out to the masses. Mr. Ballin, he's a great storyteller on YouTube. He covered it, but there's hundreds of videos now. But I'm pretty sure the original audio that they talk about it is on Sasquatch Chronicles. But it's some crazy stuff. The Kandahar giant, but even the troops are battling against these werewolf monsters in South America. It's so crazy what's going on in this world right now. There's deep underground military bases and cities underneath Denver. It's just wild, but they got us on the surface, just playing checkers while they're playing chess. It's quite interesting. And I think the Sasquatch are just underneath in the subterranean caves, and of course the densest parts on the surface, just waiting it out, because they can sense that there's a big thing coming. There's an awakening of people.
I think there is right now, and I've seen several different awakenings in my 40 years of being here, but right now I could tell there's actually some kind of shift or something going on that's more noticeable to me than I've ever noticed before. Because I know people go through their own personal awakening, but I feel like this one's actually more collective. Sorry, I almost knocked the lights off the wall. It's more collective, it's involving more people, more groups of people, more cultures and stuff. And that's why I think that they're leaking all of this UFO footage, because they've known about them this whole time. They just have rejected the aliens trying to communicate with us because we couldn't understand them, or we didn't want them to, be in control or be at a higher status than us because of our egos. Because, you have to have, your ego would have to die for every person here, for everyone to not freak out knowing that aliens are coming. And we're not able to actually, understand what they're saying or what they want, even though that I think it was Dwight D. Eisenhower. Was it him? Met with them. Was it one of the presidents? I think it was him. Dwight D. Eisenhower met with them and had a private meeting or whatever with them, and they offered to give us their technology, and he rejected it, and they kept it a secret for a long time. And then there were actually guards there when that happened. You probably already know this, but I don't think everybody else does. But there were supposed to be guards there that actually were interviewed afterwards, and they were physically there, and they witnessed this happening, and they actually saw this happening, and they leaked that information, and they were interviewed, and they told about it from their eyewitness accounts. And that basically they said that the aliens, one of the head aliens met with him, and he was the world leader, and they offered to give us their technology, and it was rejected because we didn't understand it and we weren't close enough to being at their level of technology yet, so it was rejected. And I'm wondering if we're getting closer now, because we're having a spiritual awakening, that we're getting closer to ascending to be able to connect with their technology. Why are we leaking out those videos now all of a sudden? I don't know. That's just my thoughts.
No, that's all very interesting. I just want to say I confirmed all those footages, when they happened. So, come to Bigfoot Anonymous before the Pentagon. Sorry, but they're slow with it. Come on. But I just advise everybody to look up Project Bluebeam. There's a very interesting theory about a fake staged alien invasion to enforce this next wave of, the new world order. But we'll see. I think they're from extraterrestrials. Extraterra. Terra means land. They're not from light years away. They're just from other continents. I've seen maps with hundreds and thousands of continents beyond the ice wall, where Admiral Byrd, the Medal of Honor, he found luscious jungles full of mammoths. And I'm trying to, locate those. And, King Kong versus, Godzilla versus King Kong talks about Middle Earth. And there's lots of stories of Antarctica bases of the Nazis and then going into subterranean caverns. So I think it all connects. There's a cool movie called Iron Sky that they still have like Hitler underneath in Middle Earth riding Tyrannosauruses. And I always throw people off when I say Abraham Lincoln's still alive, because I say he's down in Middle Earth, drinking from the fountain of youth, because it was the assassination was just a plot. He wanted to not be president. So sadly, some bearded man who looked like him, got hit in the back of the head, but I went to the Ford's Theater and I've definitely felt the energy there. And I've went to the JFK assassination location, and soaked it in there. That's when America changed forever. That's when we took the right in the fork and just absorbing it. And I had my own crazy moment with a girlfriend there that I met in Dallas, and it's like, oh my gosh, like at the JFK place, I felt like I lost it. It's just crazy how it all goes in cycles. But
like, do you think that you empathetically, like you related with him, like he maybe connected with you to show you something?
Maybe. There's a very interesting thing. My aunt, after I went there, my aunt actually told me that we're related to some Fitzgeralds, and he had the same Bible as my family back in Ireland. So the Flynns and the Fitzgeralds go way back. So yeah, I think they killed my cousin. And my cousins now who are working with the other side, I'm like, come on, guys. General Michael Flynn, come on.
Someone had a question. Go ahead, Jason.
We were talking about UFOs and stuff. Do you think, everybody associates Bigfoot with UFOs? Do you think they're working together, or what do you think about that?
Yes, I think there's definitely some kind of connection. Maybe some are working with some, but the aliens are going to check up any kind of anomalies on the ground. And then, of course, the main Earthlings that have super senses are going to be aware of the things in the sky. You got to think they've probably had treaties and made connection, because if the aliens have met with the humans, then they have definitely met with the Bigfoot, because the humans are just tainted Earthlings. We're chemically made.
Bigfoot is pure.
Out. Yep. So I think there is a connection. And, Bigfoot have the ability to control forest. They have infrasound, echolocating, the camouflage, techniques like an octopus. Maybe not the same exact, just changing color, but their hair is translucent, made like hollow. So they blend in with their background. Plus, they can vibrate their hairs to such blends that they are a blur. So, yeah, no crap, it's hard to capture one on film. But,
because they can make themselves invisible.
Exactly. But real quick, I might as well say it right now. The best footage right here. That is the footprint of Patty. I'm going to set the camera back up where I was and just grab her down. But this is a replica of the Patterson-Gimlin footage. And back in 1967, they filmed Patty for about a minute walking across a dry creek bed. And you can see her breasts and you can see her muscles. And some people even say you could see a baby climbing on her chest. I love to imagine or, visualize them having some kind of pouch like a kangaroo. You ever seen a baby kangaroo in the mom? It's so natural, but it's inside there and it's a little pocket. And these are masters. But there's a lot of crazy theories about the Bluff Creek footage. A lot of people say it's fake. A lot of people say it's authentic. But then there's a lot of darker stuff that MK Davis talked about there being a massacre, and they wiped out a lot of Bigfoot because they needed to log the area, and then the Bigfoot were messing with the equipment. I'm not going to go really too deep into it, but I advise anybody just to look into it, because I think it's fair that anybody should have two sides of the story. Because if we're going to glorify these people as heroes, we should hear the other side. There's so much out there that even, the most famous Bigfoot footage, and her giant feet. I'm size 13, and she dwarfs
I was going
me.
to ask you if you put your foot up there just to show like how
Yeah, I could try. I could
huge
try.
that it is, like how huge that it is.
My
Yeah,
foot starts right there, and I wear size 13.
it's
right there.
Shaquille O'Neal's footprint. He was out there barefoot.
Right.
I
The cover of my
seen it with my own 2 eyes.
the cover of my Bigfoot book. This is a footprint that me and my mom found at Ocheesy Landing. It's right near Ocheesy Pond, where it is it's one of the craziest Bigfoot stories, but no one ever talks about it on Finding Bigfoot or any of that because I think there's just too much to it. In the Ocheesy Pond in the 1800s, Civil War veterans and Native American gatherers teamed together after a Sasquatch was harassing women, children, and agriculture and just the animals and just ravaging the swamp. They captured a Sasquatch, and then they sent it to the hospital, Florida State Hospital in Chattahoochee, famous for being very cruel to prisoners and experimenting with war veterans. It's real messed up. There's a movie called Chattahoochee with Gary Oldman in it where he plays a veteran with PTSD, and then they throw him in there and mess him up. And I just think like, wow, what did they do to that Sasquatch? Because he ended up dying 3 years later, and they buried him in one of the cemeteries next to a bunch of Native Americans. Then they built a house on top of him, or a building on top of him. But
if they kept him that long, do you think that they extracted DNA to do a replication?
Oh, 100%. And they have DNA.
Or cloning?
They literally 100%. They have armies of Sasquatch that they literally use the Sasquatch
they had one.
to use their abilities and scout other Sasquatch. And I hate to get crazy and really down the rabbit hole, but there's a genocide happening against these people right now, and they're being hunted down. So I'm all about conserving them. And the ones that are, killing people and the missing 401 stuff, they need to be dealt with. But there are good Sasquatch and good people, feral people out there. So they do not need to be wiped out for logging. It's very messed up.
I've always thought that they have an echolocation ability with the other Sasquatch, like they can have some special communication that we can't actually understand to tell each other and warn each other, just like animals, just like any groups of animals, schools of fish, dolphins, whales and sharks and everything else.
100%. And it's I've heard two different sides of it. I've heard, good people using the Sasquatch, like after Mount St. Helens, to use Sasquatch to find other ones and injured. So they go find them in the caves and go save them. Yeah. And then there's others that, they raise these Sasquatch from birth. So they get them, they have them under their nail, of course, and then they hunt down the good Sasquatch. So it's literally like Planet of the Apes coming true. It's so crazy. And not many people even want to, give it the time of day, but there are so many stories and it's written out in newspaper articles. So,
somebody here knows you, I think. This guy, Joshua Dixon, he said, Flynn.
Heck yeah, that's awesome. What's up, man? Good to see you. That's awesome that it brings the Facebook people here. I hope my dad's watching. I hope all the guys at work are watching. What's up, town? Hope I'm representing. I'm the Florida Wild Man, but I'm also Ohio Buckeye. So I've been across the world or across America and a couple other countries, but I'm trying to spread my knowledge and bounce it off the firmament and go to all the continents beyond the wall. There's Agatha, there's Middle Earth. We need to open our eyes to just more than the core. Like now they're saying there's water in the core. Yeah, I told you guys that there's water above, there's water below. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. That was on the grave of Werner von Braun. He was the Nazi scientist that they brought over, and then he ran NASA. Why is the guy who runs NASA saying heaven is real and there's a dome? There's no heaven in the NASA's model. I don't know where that is. So I love catching these people on their little mix-ups. And, it wasn't a mix-up. He put it on his gravestone on purpose, but he lived a lie his whole life, and then he wanted to tell people the truth at the end. So honestly, props to him for being brave at the end, or it was his wife trying to save face, but who knows?
Linda had a question that kind of sounds similar to what you're talking about. It says, is the Step Pyramid considered alien built in Egypt?
Maybe. If it wasn't built by the aliens, the technology came from the aliens. I think a lot of it was built with their minds, because just the numbers are crazy. They would have to like place a block perfectly every like 4 minutes and 30 seconds consecutively for like 39 years for the pyramids to be built. So I think there was extra supernatural tendencies. Maybe they were being watched by the gods and the deities and the titans, or they were using the titans or the Sasquatches, or they all just used their minds and their
mind power.
Yep.
Levitation or whatever, like they manifested it to move with their minds because they all concentrated together in a group or something. Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Convergence of ley lines. It's like a perfect place to do it. We were meditating yesterday in the Garden of Eden, and we were hearing things rumble behind us, but we refused to open our eyes. It's just so magical. But when you're in these convergence of ley lines, all we are is electricity. We're protons, neutrons, electrons, and we have ability to become particle form and wave form. Most of the time we're particles, 99.9% of the time, we're solid. But in the true moments of our being, we can become waveform. So it's either in death when we become the spirit, or in those true moments of, I don't know, just wave. I'm not saying teleporting and vanishing. Maybe if you can really get in line with it, but I think it's just crazy energy moments, and it can take you to where you need to. Say a train is coming and you feel you quench hard enough and it's meant to be enough. Something could take you. Like miracles can happen. You are just energy. It's just vibrations, and the air is just vibrations too. So it is so much easier when you just think of energy and vibrations. We are not just shells. I am this whole room. I am this whole screen. I am on your screen. You're on my screen. We are all here, What the heck states are we in? Doesn't matter. We're just
everywhere. Flying. There's a person here from, where are you from, Irene? I think she's from Japan, or she's from
magical. We are everywhere at all once. And our
from
convergence
Tokyo, I think.
Here, but we're all one in this perfectly made timepiece. The stars, the moon, the sun, the fixed deities in the firmament. It's a beautiful thing. We're not an accident. We are made in perfect. Like we are the center of the universe. And I don't want to sound like, arrogant or whatever word they would throw on that, but humans need to know we're at the center. We're made for, we're important, guys. There is not land on Pluto and stuff. No, it's Earth. Earth is one fixed closed system. Look at the Hebrew conception of the universe. We matter. It's so magical once you start.
If we knew how important that we were, we'd probably take better care of our planet, and we'd take better care of each other if we knew that we're important. You know what I mean? Like if we actually valued ourselves the way that we should, the planet wouldn't be, the ozone layer wouldn't be depleting, and we'd take better care of each other. We wouldn't have so many people hurting all the time and committing suicide all the time.
They have us hating ourselves. They have us hating life. They have us hating the world. Yeah. We need to fight back because it's not an accident. We're here on purpose during this time, and we got to shine bright because all it takes is a little flicker in a dark room to illuminate. So just bound together. You wake up one person, they wake up their neighbor. Like you could have the whole street. There's just the power, man. And
that's why even if people make fun of you, you keep doing what you're doing.
100%. And it engulfs me, man. They call me a drug addict. They say I'm on drugs. I don't even drink coffee. I'm just so energized. I hike. I'm so about the truth. And I take that as more fuel. If you guys think I'm crazy and loopy or drugged up or on some kind of fuel, no, this is all natural buzz. So I take that as thank you. Wow, you guys think I'm cheating? No, I'm running full speed at this, and I'm taking no prisoners because now the last 2 years we see what happens, and they overstep their boundaries, and a lot of people don't know how to react, and they're not brave enough or strong enough, or they just want to hunker down. And I understand a lot of people, but we just got to go outside, get some sunlight. Do not be scared to be a human being.
Definitely I've been alive for years. Sunlight.
People put there's power in it. Vitamin D. You're in the sun for 15 minutes. It releases endorphins and euphoric chemicals in your body. Literally, when I know I'm going to work all day, I stick my arm out the window on my 18-minute drive, and I'm like, I hope I
heals you too. Sun is healing. It's some natural healing for free. You don't have to pay for it.
Moon too. The moonlight too. I don't buy the moon as a reflection of the sun shine a light on a rock. It doesn't happen. The moon is its own deity, its own
Well, have you
entity.
seen a moonflower? I mean, that's like my
Oh,
perfect example. They open up only when the moon hits them, and then they close up when the moon goes away. Adam has a question, and I don't know what he's talking about, but you might. Have you heard of ML12?
I don't think I have, but I've heard of MK Ultra. You know, I know what that is.
Yeah, I know what that is.
Mind control and stuff. I'm not sure if that's up the same alley, but I'm interested in ML12. I'll definitely research it after this. It sounds up my alley, man.
There's another person that's a foreigner.
What do you think about the? See, we actually live in Oklahoma, so what do you think about the law or whatever they just passed about the permit to hunt Bigfoot?
Oh my gosh, we need to impeach that guy. He's gonna get some people killed, and it's just bad. Yeah. It's just bad vibes. You know, we don't need to be hunting these. They're people. They're people. Why are they passing laws to hunt people in America? That's where we are in 2021. What's next? What's next?
They're making money to sell the license or the certification to go and do it. Probably is the main motive, I'm sure.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely a fun buzz. You know, I've had my laughs about it, but, you know, I really hope nobody gets injured because all those hunters, you know, should watch Missing 411 The Hunted. There has been expert Green Beret guys that, you know, went missing without even firing a shot. So we're outmatched. So anybody that thinks they're going to hunt down a Bigfoot is silly. You know, you might kill a young one, but you're going to get killed before you leave the forest. But there's tons of stories of them being killed on like how to hunt.
You said the other day, Jason. He said that. Someone posted that on our page the other day on the Night Terror Collective page, and he was like, if there's a Bigfoot, they're going to get you way before you get them. That's what Jason said. And he's like, I don't support this at all.
100%. A lot of people that like have experienced them just leaves the gun at home. You know, I don't bring a gun most of the time because I'd bring a gun for bear and panther and maybe a hog, but a Bigfoot, I'm not going to shoot it. My bullet won't hurt it, and I wouldn't make it out of the woods, even if I didn't get one down.
Stupid, but there is an actual ancient art form of and I used to work at the casino. Jason works in security. I used to work there, and I practiced this study, and I can't remember if it's Steven Seagal, but I think it's him. And you can actually detect if someone is armed with a concealed weapon. You can detect it with your mind, your body, and your vibration and your awareness. You can detect it before they even can pull it on you or before they even get close to you. And I can't remember what it's called, but I'm pretty sure at that state of like awareness, if a human could think that, then a Bigfoot would already know because they could either smell in their sweat, perspiration, or feel their vibration, or feel like their level of whatever that they would know that person's
gunpowder.
Yeah, that they're there to cause damage to Bigfoot or whatever else that is out there that Bigfoot would protect.
100%. Yeah, that's very interesting. I'm going to look into that because, of course, I've heard, you know, just senses, mind over matter. You know, our mind can create worlds in our dreams, in our sleep, and then we have amnesia in the morning, and then we want to walk around like everything's normal. Like, I understand we are all supernatural, we are all clairvoyant, we're all magical, but so many people have just been broken. They've just been laughed at. I've been laughed at too, and I've had hard nights, man. I've had death threats. You know, I've had knocks on the door.
That is so true, and it like totally resonates. Like I didn't speak about having any gifts or abilities forever because we had a person that was around me and Jason, and this happened most of my life, but I got over it. But we had an adult that would like tell me that I was fake and I was making shit up and that I was pretending for attention. And I was like, that's why I would never, ever, 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 ever say, oh, I have medium abilities, because I was scared to death that another grown person was going to belittle me if I ever said that word. That is a crazy society that we live in, that someone would rather hate.
They lost temporarily.
She'll be right back.
Anybody like that though, I try to make them feel like they're the small ones. Like, not like I don't take any low blows, but I'm so much me that their little comments, it hits me in my knee, you know? I just try to be so much me and so confident that the little naysayers, it's just little nibbles, you know?
Yeah. Irene knows what I'm talking about. She said it's a form of Japanese martial arts. Thank you, Irene. Thank you. I'll need to look it up because I'm pretty sure it came from Steven Seagal or it was Jean Claude, but I think it was Steven Seagal that he practiced
Yeah.
something he practiced.
Yeah, the thing about Oklahoma is they're saying they give a $3 million bounty if somebody brings in one alive. You know, the main thing is to like she said earlier is to sell permits and make money. You know, but it brings the wrong kind of element, wrong kind of people don't need to be in the woods looking for anything, and then you arm them. You know, they're out there with guns, and then if you do come across somebody that's it's a Bigfoot that's however 8, 9, 10 feet tall, that's however 900 pounds or whatever, and you shoot it, well, it's just gonna make it mad. So,
Yeah.
And it's going to bring hoodlums too. That's all the people that play by the rules and get the permits. I'll tell you right now, a bunch of people from Florida probably drove there right away. Just some hillbillies still off that moonshine. There's going to be bad people in the forest trespassing and poaching. They're going to kill the pigs. They're going to kill the deer. It's crazy. Do what y'all do over in Oklahoma, the sooner the later, right? No, I think it's interesting. I hope it does raise money on permits and stuff. I'm kind of against, fishing
I'm
licenses.
just anticipating the first accident to happen and come to the media that's caused because of that. Like, I don't know. I have faith in humanity, but I don't have that much faith in humanity that people are not going to end up shooting each other, going out and trying to get the $3 million. It's a lot of money. Shit's gonna happen. It's just gonna happen. I'm just
Right.
like the first person that if I hear about a kid getting shot, I will petition for them to take that away. I will, because it's not worth $3 million. A human life, and especially a innocent human life, is not worth finding a Bigfoot.
Definitely
And a
not.
Bigfoot would actually probably take that child and protect that child.
Right,
he doesn't care about $3 million.
There's a really cool story over here in Ocala that this little girl fell and had a compound fracture in her leg, and she was bleeding out, gonna die. And this orange orangutan lady came and picked her up, and the little girl thinks she was pregnant because her breasts smell like milk, and then she had a big belly, and she was being held against it, and she remembers being so grossed out, but they dropped her out right outside of camp. And it would have been impossible for the little girl to get there. And all the counselors were dumbfounded. It's just crazy. There's so many stories. Just every day I hear something new. Literally, just 2 days ago, in one of my videos while I was kayaking, this guy, Long Island Bigfoot, great dude, brother Mike, he's huge in the Bigfoot community. He found a skunk ape face watching us in the back of our video, and he sent me a bunch of screenshots. It's just so crazy when you dig into even your old pictures. Look at the dark corners, and brighten it up and zoom in. I spent hours just at night just zooming in, and that's how I get a lot of this stuff. I felt like we were being watched, but this was going back in the footage, and you can see the skunk ape pretty clear. And then this is another cool one.
It looks almost like a sloth thing.
Yeah,
that one was crazy.
Yeah, we were talking about this yesterday. How it it looks like it has hair, and it looks like
they said it was a gator that they thought, right?
Yeah, they said it was a burn up, bloated gator.
No way, that's a gator. That's a mammal of some kind. You can tell by the flat. Gators don't have that much fat. They're like muscle and armor. A gator is pure muscle and armor, and they're completely historic or not prehistoric. Yep. And then that thing's got a lot of, it looks like flubber or fat, you know what I mean? Like blubbery, weird looking mushy texture to it. Yeah.
Took that at the Honey Island Swamp, and the Honey Island Swamp is super famous for the Rougarou. That's a werewolf type creature. The Honey Island Swamp is 40 minutes from New Orleans, so there's a lot of voodoo magic. And the movie Hatchet, and there's 4 of them. It's about Victor Crawley. He kills everybody that goes in the Honey Island Swamp. So it was on my bucket list, and I went on the trip solo, and I ended up meeting my friend the next day and his family, and it was just so magical. I actually got a couple chapters in a couple books from that trip because we went to the Pascagoula River where the alien abduction happened. New Orleans hit up about 25 haunted spots, and then the Honey Island Swamp and Lake Pontchartrain. Lake Pontchartrain is this 12-mile long lake, and there's been 6 or 7 plane crashes inside of it, and then a bunch of people drown and huge gators. Weird. It's electromagnetic activity like pulls these planes down or something. And
What about the
there
huge
is
gators there?
What was that?
What about the huge gators there? There are huge gators.
There's huge gators that have eaten people, and you're not even supposed to swim in the water. And NFL star Marquise Hill, he saved a girl one time and then was found dead in the lake. So it's just bad. It's almost as bad as Lake Lanier in Georgia, where pretty much everybody
Almost like
goes
it's
there.
cursed or something. Like there's some kind of I don't know, bubble there. A bubble there from, is it an Indian area, Indian territory there?
Yeah, there was Native Americans there, and then Hurricane Katrina wiped out New Orleans too. So some of it might be ancient, energies, and some of it might just be man-made problems. Just,
Elementals.
Yep, karma for the humans.
So
that's the ones that put it into play, but that's what it usually comes from. Sydney wanted to know if you believe Bigfoots in multiples are friendly.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Not all of them, but I've heard so many stories of them helping people or being friends with people or trading gifts, but you really have to tread lightly because we don't really know what these creatures are descendant wise, if they come from the angels or the demons. We really don't know if humans are pure in their heart and soul too. We hopefully will get answers in the afterlife. So it's pretty much just like any human, tread lightly and just feel it out, be the best you, and then they'll sense that out. And vibes are so powerful, guys. Looking people in the eyes, deja vu. Human beings are communicating in so much more than just vocal, ranges and just hand motions. Like, you being in an area is you. So when you step into the forest, they know you're there 100%.
Yeah.
But some of these creatures are not as well versed, so some of these there's stories of chiefs being able to 1 foot in this dimension, 1 foot in this dimension, can go through portals, can open up granite rocks and step inside. But then there's these dumb ones that haven't trained or don't give a hoot, and then they're the ones that maybe get found and maybe get shot accidentally once in a while and get hit by a car, caught on camera on trail cam, because
they laying on the river like you were on, and they take a photo of it and someone says, "Oh, that's a gator."
Yeah, that one, I think it's either a dead Rougarou, a Rougarou kill, already marked by the werewolf so no one else is going to touch it, or it's a space mutant, because there's a space testing zone right next to it. And I actually talked to my captain because I didn't have anything to do that day, so I just hung out all day with all of them. They know me. I should, if I ever lose my job at the comic book store, I'm going to the Honey Island Swamp. I'm going to be
a river tourist, a tour guide.
But the one I asked him about the monster, and he said he's heard some strange things, but nothing too crazy. But the craziest thing, he ran into one of the space employees that left the company, and he owned a little houseboat, and then in the middle of the swamp, in the middle of nowhere, and they were fishing by it, and the guy just came out shooting, and then they reported it to the cops, and he shot the cops, and a bunch of crazy crap. And it's like, what was he running from? He was a high-paid employee at the space place, and then he just left to the swamp. There's a lot of fun stuff, and I'm always asking questions. I uploaded an interview this morning that I did with 2 brothers that had a dog or a Bigfoot encounter. And then 2 days ago, I interviewed a guy with some Bigfoot audio, and he sent it to me, and it sounds crazy. I have to heighten it up though, because you have to listen to your phone real close. I already know what people will say, oh, I can't hear it. People are so picky. They pick all my crap apart. Some people were saying that's just a deer. And I said, why wouldn't the gators eat it? I thought maybe it was a deer because it was 8 foot
That's
long.
What I think is weird. Why wouldn't a gator eat it? A gator will eat anything, and they're not afraid of anything either, so they're not afraid to try to eat it. It's dead already.
Exactly. That's why it was so just strange. But I'll show one more picture. This is the giant thumb bone that Ninja Ronnie from my team has found in Spring Creek. And the Discovery Channel actually reached out to us. Expedition X, Josh Gates. We were supposed to do season 3. Oh my God,
are you serious? I love him.
Yeah, we were supposed to be on season 3, but they were supposed to squeeze it in. And season 3 is already happening right now. I think they realized that they have a little too much information just for a squeezing episode. So I'm hoping for season 4. of course, the producer that reached out to me, she's going on maternity leave, so it's literally like the domino effect of bad things. But I'm trying to stay positive, and we got the bone. So if it's not Josh Gates, who I love, he has found DNA evidence of Bigfoot himself. So it was awesome, to reach out to his team. But yeah, the Bigfoot bone was very cool, and I had like Coast to Coast write an article, and I had people in the United Kingdom writing newspaper articles about it. It's really cool. But it's the first carpal thumb bone, so it's that small bone of your thumb, and the small one is bigger than the entire thumb. And him and his buddy supposedly found the collarbone, the clavicle. And it's been really bad floods ever since Hurricane Sally. So it's really hard to get in the creek and get down there where it's at. But hopefully soon. That was the whole plan for the episode. We're going to take them down and try to find the clavicle. So we're going to see. I also spent a lot of time at the Ochese Pond where they captured that one. And 2A TV, great news place, they just did a 3-part story about the Ochese Pond, and I also found out they captured 2 Bigfoot. They found 1 giant skeleton, and 1 kid got kidnapped over there and escaped. So there's just more than just the guy getting taken to the hospital. It's just so crazy. And I talked to a lot of the fishermen there. And one guy, he's part of a radio. He used to work with the radio. He made his own hearing aid, and he could change the frequencies to listen through the swamp, and he could hear these things breathing. It is so phenomenal. And his son drew a picture. I wish I had it like laying around here. But in 1981, drew a picture when he was 9 years old of a Bigfoot in that area. So it goes back to the 1800s, but even like the last 40 years have been exploding. And ever since Hurricane Michael here in the Panhandle, like 80 people died directly from the storm, and then thousands have died indirectly, of course, ever since, because there's still tarp on people's roof. Water is still leaking from 2 years ago. And
yeah, we had a pretty bad flood like that, and they're still building. They're still rebuilding. It wasn't like a hurricane. It was just a really bad flood because a dam broke and it just flooded everything. And there was a town that was really low elevation. It just flooded the whole entire town. But
dang, were they able to evacuate the people before?
I do not know that.
Wow. There's a lot of stories about, dams being let out and then them flooding towns and then that lake being cursed. One of my chapters, Tappan Lake in Monsters and Mysteries, the 3rd book I wrote.
Yeah,
the 3rd book is all about monsters and mysteries around the corner. We love horror movies. We love graphic novels. We reach for these scary things, but guess what? It will find you. The first chapter is about my home, and a lot of people thought my house was haunted. I always heard noises, but it was always just the creaks, But in my yard, I had multiple strange encounters. One time I was meeting this girl for a sleepover, and my mom was home, so I was having her park over like a street over, and I was waiting by the woods, and something chased me, and I was running, and I ran into a stake, a garden stake, and I broke my collarbone, and I split my lip real bad. And my parents thought I was drunk, and it was some kind of creature, It could have been a deer, but it was something that was after me. Yeah. And I ended up the girl, no, I was so upset because I was bleeding and she was late. It was all her fault, I was out of my mind.
It was the universe. Divine timing was not of the essence at the moment.
Right. It was meant to be. But she actually came and parked, and I had to go back and tell her to get out. And she was like, she took it the wrong way. I don't even think I've talked to her since. It's bad. But and then other times when we were doing psychedelics for blood moons, we had a creature walk right next to us. We thought it was our cats, but my cats was right next to us, and we just internally surrendered. We didn't get a visualization or anything, but same thing, like force field. It entered your field. We knew it. We felt it. It was just on the other side of my shed. And then just other crazy experiences I've written about in there, going from my grandparents' house, sleeping at rest stops on, picnic tables, couch surfing across America. It was pretty crazy. We lived on the road from Florida to California for one summer, and we slept, pretty much at all the same spots, just rest areas, 24-hour gas stations, grocery stores, and then we used the app couch surfing. So we met a lot of incredible people, and it was like a cult. It was real crazy. The punk rock
Use
musical
that word
band.
Loosely.
Yeah.
Someone has a question, and I think you already told me about this yesterday. There's a
Yes,
lady asking, do you leave gifts for Bigfoot?
Yes, it is definitely touchy stuff though, because you don't want to get them, needing more and becoming dependent on you. So you have to establish some kind of boundary. But I was just telling Rosie yesterday, I bought a desert rose that is, popular out west and not native to the Florida swamps. So I put it out in a tree, and then next time I go, I'm going to see if something took it, and I put it out of sight of anything human, and then no animal could get to it. So it's either going to be Bigfoot or fairies. And there's a lot of weird things in the forest, pixies, gnomes, trolls. There's invisible forces. The trees come to life. Even the soil and the dragonflies have vibrations. And I don't know if you guys seen, they hook little speakers up to plants nowadays, and now it makes beautiful music. So the harmony in the chorus is always alive in the forest. Us humans, we just have so much gunk in our ears that we can't hear nothing. So it's nice to just, go barefoot and get in touch with these creatures. But yes, you can advise, you can gift these creatures, but I advise you to do it wisely and do it far away from your house, because you don't need them, knocking on your window. After the hurricane, I had
hey, if somebody wants to catch one without shooting it, I guess that'd be a good way to do it, though.
Yeah.
Leave it
looks like bloated walrus. Yeah, it might be a bloated manatee. I don't know if manatees are in the Honey Island Swamp. I don't think so. But that's some crazy stuff. I know the gators would eat the crap out of the manatees,
He said, I have a book where the guy did it. They would come back and mimic other animals to get the guy's attention for more food.
Yep, they can mimic animals, machines, loved ones. It's messed up. Don't go running right into the forest. They have tricks. They're raven mockers, shapeshifters. They're demons. There's Devil's Pass, the Dyatlov Pass. There's so much stuff that makes you raise your awareness. You can't just give in to these creatures because they are mysterious. They might help you when you're vulnerable and needed, but don't go looking for it. Because that bridge is still not made, and there's so much history that some of our ancestors as people might have harmed their creatures and just mistreated them. There might just be so much bent up aggression. So don't overstep it.
Negative ancestral patterns.
Yes,
like curses or negative ancestral patterns that are repeated, and they're not actually like changed throughout, like centuries of a lineage or whatever. They just keep getting repeated.
Sticks with us, man. Our genes are everything, and that's what they're lying to us about. Our DNA is older than Earth itself, and I'm the biggest Earth fan ever. Earth is the sun, the moon, all the planets, all the stars. Earth is our system. It's everything we know. There are no coincidences. There are no coincidences. There are no mistakes. It's all magic. It's meant to be in our system. So all this weird darkness and shadow, it can be evaporated by light. So don't ever, give in to the darkness, because God or our creator, they created us, man. And he laughs at the devil or the Joker. It's nothing to the grand plan. So we just have to be bigger than the bad going on. And I'm all about that. We can't fall into the traps. We have to be humans, man. We're made for this.
I think we could actually if we could all reach that same level of vibration, that we would be connected and one with nature and animals. All humans would be connected, every civilization, and then we would actually know what shadow figures are, because like you were saying, they can like vibrate their hairs to a speed or a level of like vibration that makes them invisible. I've always thought that that's what shadow figures are and shadow people are. There's someone that are such a vibration that they can go in and out of whatever dimension that they please to come in and out of, that they're either a celestial being or they're, like a god or something like that, or ascended masters that are coming and checking on humans, because that's what their job is to do, is to try to make sure to watch over us or whatever, or the watchers or whatever you're calling. But I always think that like a shadow person being able to travel in and out of whatever dimension that they want to, and us catching them on film when we're at a haunted location or whatever the location is on accident when you're out on a hiking trip, But that's the same as what you're kind of saying about Bigfoot being able to concentrate and vibrate on a level where he can make himself not seen.
Yep. They're just everybody asks, are they supernatural? They're just so natural. They're super, Earthlings, us human beings, are capable of miracles and just anomalies. So of course them, because they haven't been, tampered by all the poison in our water, Wi-Fi, all the anxiety of just social pressure. They don't have that. So they're able to just tune in to the earth. And even when you're hiking for 2 hours, you become closer to nature. So imagine, generations of it. So they are just so one with this earth that we can learn from them. So yeah, it's some dark, mysterious waters, but I want to dive in and I want to swim. I might have a life jacket because who knows, but it's definitely a cool adventure. And I run full speed at this. When you backed out for a second, I was saying to Jason, that I'm so much me and so loud that I try to make the naysayers feel uncomfortable. They don't even want to. They don't even want to mess with me. They don't even want to because I'm so loud and confident.
They're like, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about, or there's not any reason to argue because he's, standing firm like he's preaching his life and his his experience and his walks or whatever that he knows and does and sees and feels. I'm not even gonna bother. Like my daughter said, Mom, he sounds like a preacher.
Isn't that crazy though? Because I'm not very religious. I'm just spiritual. I love all religions.
You
I'm
could be like a life preacher. You're Bigfoot's 100%.
I'm just trying to preach positive. I'm a positivity preacher. Because it's so much electricity and love and knowledge, and they're trying to shed so much fear and hate and division and false knowledge. It's the times right now of Armageddon. I'm going full speed at this because I'm really nervous what's going to happen in 2 years if we keep living on our knees. We're not going to be able to have these conversations on StreamYard. Everything's being regulated. People aren't even allowed to have Twitter nowadays. Oh, I get shadow banned on TikTok. For what? Oh my gosh. I'm just calling
really?
out. Yeah, I'm shadow banned on TikTok, Instagram. It's so bad where some of my numbers have went and then some of my numbers fall. It's so messed up. And then I have screen recorded proof of certain things I type in, and then it kicks me off the app. It's so messed up that fascism is when technology, the people running the technology team up with the people that are trying to rule the people. So then the mass media is just false.
I know you're talking about. Yeah. Who did I talk to? I talked to somebody that told me that they were being shut down and they were being okay. I can't remember who it was, but I brought him up on the last episode and I'm going to bring him up again because to me, he's like a superhuman of rock and roll. But I was talking to Ari last week I watched an interview with Billy Corgan. He's from Chicago. He's the lead singer of Smashing Pumpkins. And I have followed him from day one ever since I've heard their first song that I ever heard. And he is such a raised vibrational human being that he has talked about actually people going after him and actually people going after his views and he talks like you do and they go after him all the time and they try to shut him down or they try to threaten or they try to what's it called? There's a name for it.
Censor him.
Yeah, that happens to him all the time, he said. And he's famous. He's a millionaire. He's been around for 20 something years shaking up people's ways of belief and waking people up. That's why they don't want him to wake. They don't want people getting woke up. They don't want people getting awake.
It's scary too because the lead singer of Soundgarden, the lead singer of Linkin Park. I know their names, but anybody should just research them. They didn't kill themselves. Kurt Cobain didn't kill himself; he was killed. Courtney Love had affair with 3 officers on the case. But the normal narrative just keeps going. So I'm just so sick of the mainstream because it's just wrong. Why is SpongeBob's address Epstein Island? I've had enough with the mainstream crap. You look at so much Disney and all the evil stuff, and they want to make me look like a lunatic for talking about angels and demons. Y'all are putting some messed up stuff in cartoons and want to make me look like I'm a goofball for trying to find a bridge to our creator. It's so crazy. Just even the movie Frozen on Disney, that everybody knows about Walt Disney being frozen, of our age. But now if you Google it, it only comes up the movie.
I don't even like that movie at all.
I haven't seen it. I'm a big movie guy and I love magic movies, but
Disney movies, I love Pixar, but I don't like that movie at all. Nothing about it stands out to me or grabs my I don't know. There's some more questions I'm going to put on here. In Japan, this isn't a question actually. In Japan, the Grim Reaper is called the Shinigami, means a god of death.
Dude, that's awesome. Thank you, Irene. While we're on the Japanese topic, I love like little segues. I'm in a movie called Zillafoot coming out here soon. It's a mixture of Bigfoot and Godzilla, and I basically play myself. I'm a cryptid research officer. I go down to the military bunker. I'm like, oh, there's impending doom. There's monsters coming down from the firmament, from the Antarctica, from Agatha, and I tell all the truth, and then they escort me out, and they're like, I know you're probably right, but you got to get out of here. And then I'm guessing the monster is going to come destroy the city. But it's out on delivery right now. It's officially released in July. Zillafoot. Definitely check it out, guys. I'm on the big screen, Mom. Yes. No,
awesome. That's around my birthday, so I'll be like, birthday for me.
Yeah. I'll send you a copy.
Underground movie to watch or whatever. Is it like an underground, or is it considered like a Sundance level, or like is it just what is it?
Not Sundance level. It's made by SDS Cinema, and they put out a bunch of B-rated kaiju films, or maybe C-rated.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But yeah, it's a bunch of monster films, and even like shark movies and stuff, like House Shark and Shark with the Chainsaw. It's a bunch of goofy stuff.
What the heck?
Yeah,
I'd probably watch the kaiju ones, but I don't know if I'd watch the shark ones, if just like for the beginning of it, just to see what it was about. But the kaiju ones I'd watch for sure.
Yeah. Mine falls under the kaiju one, so I think you'll enjoy it. And I made it with my buddy Jack McClellan. He goes to school at Florida State. He makes films. He also made a Bigfoot documentary called Bridges, and it's about the Bridge family right over here. They were on the Finding Bigfoot. The woman has like clairvoyant abilities that she can like attract these creatures, and they have found TP structures and have pictures of these creatures, and they have giant casts that are like 4 times as big as this one. It's so crazy. And there's a cool High Lie abandoned arena there, that wicker basket sport, and that's my like bucket list spot. But I found out that the Bridges family is like right across the street, so I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't just go in at midnight by myself, because normal people, feral people, hobos, I'm a hobo too, homebody. I've been homeless. I'm not scared of them. I'll be like, hey guys, here's a bag of chips. But if there's a werewolf in this warehouse, no way, I'm dead. So, I'll be running to the police.
I'm definitely going to come there to look at the Rougarou, because me and Jason are wanting to go to New Orleans, and we were wanting to try to meet up with Howard, because he lives there, the guy that was in here earlier. He's one of our hosts on several different shows on Paranormal United Network. But I really am like, I've always been like, my focal point of like folklore and like monsters has always been like Rougarou, Lougarou, lycanthropes, werewolves, whatever you want to call them, shapeshifters, skinwalkers, whatever.
Yeah, the Wolfman. Definitely check it out. Do the ghost tours in New Orleans, of course. Go to the Mississippi River and soak in the vibes, because there's sharks in there and there's movies about that too. And then go check out, the Witch's Grave, and see the American Horror Story, Marie Laveau. But then go across Lake Pontchartrain. Do not crash in. Watch out for the planes flying overhead. But do the Honey Island Swamp Tour, and then tell them the crazy guy who was like,
is it on a fan boat?
No, it's on a pontoon boat, sadly. Okay. But they have fan boats too. Over on the Pascagoula, where they have the river alien, and actually the fan boat is called the Rougarou. That's over on the Pascagoula. It's only like an hour the other way.
Going there, Jason.
Yeah. We were spoiled on that trip that I mentioned before. I went to New Orleans, Biloxi, that is filled with crazy stuff, Pascagoula, then the Honey Island Swamp, and I stopped midway at my mom's, because she was on vacation too, at her hotel, and visited Mobile, Alabama, and they're famous for the Mobile Wolf Woman. So me and my mom went on a nighttime hike, and we were looking for a woman werewolf. So it's really cool. And my mom's all into Bigfoot and stuff. Honestly, she puts more into Finding Bigfoot and Expedition Bigfoot than my stuff. She should be watching my stuff a lot more than Bobo and Cliff. I love them, but come on, Mom.
So it has to be a wolf woman to give birth to a wolf man, right? If there wasn't a wolf woman, then they wouldn't be born.
They say beware of the ones with the eyebrows that meet and that are born feet first. That's a werewolf. So, if your next child is feet first, good luck. Get the holy
Technically,
water.
I'm wrong. You could be cursed because you could get attacked, and then you'd get the curse, and then you'd become a werewolf. Like the movie Cursed. I'm like obsessed with that movie, and any Dimension Films movies are like right up my alley. But Cursed is like Curses.
I love Curse. Joshua Jackson, Jesse Einsberg, Wes Craven.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and
Did you see
Ricci.
the Howling? The first original
Yeah,
Howling?
I've seen those, but it's been forever. Like,
what's crazy is
they came out when we were like in high school, right? I don't remember. Me and Jason.
Yeah, it was like 1980 in the 1980s. But the Satanist says, this one high-ranking Satanist, he says once you reach a certain level, you have to choose between turning into a vampire or a werewolf. And werewolf is very painful. So he became a vampire. And there's a bunch of crazy interviews. I forget his name now, but it's very easy to find. Satanists that turn into vampire and werewolf, But he also says that in the movie The Howling, the original transformation scene is a real werewolf transformation. It's not makeup or anything. They didn't have enough time. And that might be some just, tall tale. But I watched it back and I'm like, oh my gosh, that might be a real werewolf.
I'm calling Vincent Price and asking him. No, I'm just kidding.
Do it. But there are a lot of tales on like how they do turn into, the wolf. Do they get bit? Do they, are they cursed in their blood? Kind of like MJ or Michael J. Fox. Or is there kind of like religion ones like the Cajuns, how if you don't practice Lent for like 7 straight years, you turn into a werewolf for 47 straight nights. Like
there's a curse put on you. Have a curse put on you by someone of a certain like practice of religion or like, like some kind of craft. Maybe that even they can do that too. Yeah.
Voodoo queen. Yeah.
Voodoo or like witchcraft or something like that. I would feel like that could actually happen too. Like, I mean, I don't know. Look at Thinner, the movie Thinner. That makes me think of that. But instead of being thinner, you're a beast, and you turn a beast. When the full moon's out. Do you get any ringing in your ears? Linda wants to know.
Oh yeah, and I don't know if it's the jaw problem, TMJ or what. But right when I moved down to Florida, I honestly started having really bad ear problems. I always had tubes in my ears, swimmer ears. So I'm very sensitive with my ears and my eyes. Like my eyes are always watering and just, my ears are ringing. Like literally I took my glasses off today at work because I had ringing in my ears. So it's not only, when I'm out in the woods or when I'm in abandoned houses, it's all the time. And I think maybe sometimes that's me being on the right path. Once you start seeing the 333, 111, deja vu, you see a black kid across the street safely, you're on the right path. When you're with your people and you're feeling good, things happen. Like once you step out of your boundary and feel the magic, beautiful things happen. Like once I moved from Ohio down to Florida, boom, like my life just happened to me. I tripled in depth. And I thought I was somebody before. I just encourage everybody just to take that leap. That safe leap.
Someone had a question about your big brother Bigfoot. Their question is, I thought it was on the government looking into the subject of Bigfoot. Is that what it's about, or?
Oh, that's a really interesting, like Big Brother, Bigfoot. It honestly combines multiple. It's mostly because like Big Brother, Bigfoot, like he's our ancestor, like he's our big bro. Like, hey, what's up, big bro in the forest? But yeah, a lot of the chapters talk about the government knowing about it and wiping it under the rug. So definitely, the Big Brother is always watching too. I love that. I love that breakdown. That's awesome. And that's just like, I love the title of Erie Swamps too, because Erie is Lake Erie, but it also means scary, but I'd have to add another E, and then road trip, this is stupid, but road trip is supposed to be spaced out, so I just break the grammar code because I don't care. It's all about,
at least you spelled it right.
Yeah, I spelled it right for me, I spelled Eden right, and that's what matters, But ever since I was in the high school newspaper, I've been having to deal with censorship. I was a professional mixed martial arts writer while I was in school, so I'd use my my articles from like websites and magazines for my school paper, and it wasn't anything with plagiarism, but I was the editor, and one of the guys from my team It was FP MMA, Flynn Pouts MMA. Well, Pouts, he's a great writer too. I've been trying to encourage him to write some books, but he was a great writer. He mentioned alcohol in the newspaper, or in the article, and they tried getting us for they tried expelling me, and they kicked me off as my editor position and banned me from posting a bunch of stuff. And it was all censorship because I never even drank at those times. He was just trying to build the picture. There was fights in the crowd. They were screaming. There was drinking. Yeah. Literally, that's all it was. That's how innocent
it was.
So he was
actually just using what they teach you in school to use your senses to actually put the person in the story so they know and they can taste and smell and see and hear and feel what you're talking about.
Yup, and I'm all about that. And they try to shut us down and censor us. And ever since I've been even a kid, but ever since I was a 17-year-old editor for the school paper, they've been shutting me down. So that's why I was real happy just to get my stuff published. I published through Kindle Direct Publishing, Amazon. I'm definitely looking at other avenues just because Amazon is honestly the monster of the world right now. They're underpaying their people. Jeff Bezos is getting huge $10 billion bailouts, and he buys MGM for $8 billion. They don't even play by the real rules. So I'm disgusted.
MGM the casino or MGM the production company?
Probably all of it. MGM. They own it all. We can't even. They're asking for my chips back that I won in Vegas for my 21st birthday. I don't know. They're evil people are taking over the world. So it's important for the little man to get their word out.
Actually, even if it's more like money's taking over.
100%. It really is.
American Godzilla is horrible, Irene says.
Yeah, hopefully Zillafoot will step up. But no, if you didn't like Godzilla, you don't aim high for Zilla.
True. She was talking about how Godzilla in the Japanese version, which I love,
how it
tells people to not destroy the earth and the environment.
Oh, I like that. Of course, the American stories just try to make it a villain. They're trying to villainize these titans, and it's really scary. That's what makes me scared about all these UFO declassifications, because it's not declassifying anything. All these videos have already been online, so there's just that little narc trying to be like, haha, here's the credit. I'm not taking it. I'm not buying it. Project Bluebeam. Everybody research it. They're going to have, a hologram come down from space. Just remain calm. Stay out of the light. Don't disappear.
The project that had to do with Dwight D. Eisenhower meeting one of the alien leaders is called Project Blue something else too, but it's not Blue Beam. It's Blue something else.
Yeah, I think it's Project Blue Book, maybe.
It might be. I thought that might be what it is, but I didn't want to say that unless I was sure.
They all blend together, and that's all, again, just mind control and stuff. They try to get us on semantics when it's just about the energy. You could feel something, but it's hard to describe it,
So do Bigfoot, do they bury their dead? They bury them?
Yes, they definitely have to. They bury them or they eat them, because there have been lots of crypts that have been found deep in caves. But I also have narrated over 200 newspaper articles on my SoundCloud of giant bone excavations. Back in the early 1900s and the late 1800s, when they were building roads, they were just drilling through everything. And there was Native American mounds everywhere in this country. And then even families that had them on their property would have these weird forces come by and then just excavate them all. But they found giant skeletons, 12 feet tall, 40 feet long over in Egypt. So these titans are huge. But yes, I think the Bigfoot take them deep in the caves or bury them, deep in the swamp. But they have ceremonies and, of course, burials. And it might just be tribal, like eating them like some animals do, or like some tribes used to do. But yes, there is definitely some kind of, intelligence behind it. They don't just die and they're just left there. They have that echolocating, just like we were talking about earlier. They can find each other. So if they can sense that one's in danger, I'm sure the whole tribe is going to come. But, some are lone wolves, like the Ohio Grassman story. They broke off because they were cannibals. They were so vengeful that there was peaceful Bigfoot, and then there was the Grassman. So I'm sure some of these rogue ones that kind of don't play by the rules, they might not have as much respect. So you might find, one of their dead bodies after a while. But yes, 98% of them, have ceremonial family burials and very important stuff, And And who knows? Energy's never created nor destroyed. They might have abilities to bring them back in different forms. And, it's never the end. It's just, your spirit rises up or it goes down if you're good or bad. So they might be able to mess with the process a little bit, but yes, they definitely bury their dead.
Or it just stays the same and you're basically living in insanity because it's like a repeated, like, you know what I mean? Like it stays the same and you never ascend ever because you just, I don't know if you're bound that way or you become comfortable with being that way. But I feel like most of the people are like,
eternity is forever. Like, oh my gosh, guys, this temporary crap with the human, like you're a soul first. Like, guys, eternity is forever. Make your choices based on that, speak like that. And that power is there too. Like human beings and the soul are special. That's why they tell us we're not. And then they have us on medicine to hold us down. But guys, love exists. Deja vu exists. Electricity exists. Like it's right here. We have Earth in our mind. We can create worlds in our dreams. So stop selling yourself short because you failed a test. It's all man-made crap. Your soul can't be calculated, can't be broken down 100%.
You know what my daughter told me today? She told me it has a lot to do with what's going on right now and what you're talking about. She said that you remember, I never realized it, but in Back to the Future, Emmett told Marty, or whatever his name was, to never set the thing to go to 2020. And I was like, oh my God, he did.
Yeah. I remember last year when it, I think it was last year when it went to the date that it like talked about, or maybe a couple years ago. But I love that. There's so much truth in movies. And Spielberg. Oh man, just look into it, guys. Just look into Hollywood and all.
Jeremy has a question for you, and I feel like you'll probably know kind of what he's talking about. He said, thoughts on Bigfoot being covered up to keep the logging companies from going bankrupt?
Yep. The owl, there's endangered owls that just stopped a bunch of production, and then a bunch of people lose their jobs because they can't mess with the forest. Sasquatch are in every forest. So yeah, it would totally end logging, and there would either be war on Sasquatch or it would be protect the Sasquatch. And either way, the logging companies are done. And that's a $1 trillion industry. It's so important as how things go around in this world. Guess what? Plant hemp, guys. One hemp field can do what acres of forest can do. So we're just doing things wrong, and it's just kind of pathetic as Americans.
But I do like my trees because I do think specific trees and specific barks and specific like tree sap or whatever else they call the stuff that comes out of trees. I can't remember like what it's called. This is like a specific like scientific name or whatever, but things like that can be used to make cures that maybe hemp could be used for other stuff, but I think that trees need to be here. They wouldn't be here and they wouldn't be deeply rooted and they wouldn't have been here since the beginning of whenever we can remember if they didn't need to be here.
100%. And trees have feelings too, and they have vibrations, and there's stories of them walking and talking. So I don't sell them short. I know the forest comes alive at night. I know that very well.
I used to think that when I was younger, and I was told I was crazy.
Yeah, I get told I'm crazy every day. I work at a comic book store that we're surrounded by fantasy, and they want to make fun of me for believing in Bigfoot. I make fun of them, back because they think cartoons are their reality. They are so far gone that I laugh at them, that they laugh at me. I take it as a compliment from a lot of these people. They're so lost and so far up, the government's butt that of course I look like I'm cuckoo to them. It's meant to be. It's silly. They're still on, the news. They're still watching the news. Like I'm pulling my information from everywhere, and they'll be like, oh, it's the internet. Well, the internet has every single encyclopedia ever written, and most books. Like I know there's knowledge in ancient books and stuff, but most of it gets brought to the internet in some form. And I dig deeper than the internet, but I just hate that how lazy naysayers have gotten, oh, there's no evidence of Bigfoot? Well, there's bones been found, and there's 125 DNA samples that have been tested. There's been vocal cords and arrangements that have not been able to be reached by human beings. There's samurai chatter that has never been deciphered by anybody. Like, there's so many anomalies that people literally have to turn their blind eye to literally say there's no evidence. What about all the military people? What about Fort Lewis stories that they've shot these creatures dead? It's so crazy that police, firemen, all the bodies that were found after the volcano at Mount St. Helens, like they found like 70 bodies. So yeah, of course they got the DNA and they're cloning them, just like the clone meat that we eat from Taco Bell. Like, oh man, we have a Decepticon as in our presidency, and it's just so crazy. Like, America has become the Matrix, and most people are Mr. Smith. I'm just trying to be Neo, but everybody I look at is like trying to like turn me in, you know. It's weird.
Fear the unknown. Irene says, I'm going to throw some more of these in there because we only got 5 minutes left. So it goes against the rules and brings a fear of something that is far from the truth of aliens and making up stories. That's what Irene said. Adam said, well, that's something like how there's supposedly machines that can cure cancer, and they're keeping it a secret because they want to take money from people for cancer treatments and for medical expenses or whatever, and they're keeping it a secret.
Definitely, yeah. Cancer has been cured. Cancer's man-made. AIDS, the virus right now. It's all there's patents for all of these stuff. Like, I hate when there's proof of all this crap, and then people want to literally turn their blind eye. Like, they say trust the science, but the science is the pockets of the powerful people now, and I don't have much time for that. I have time for people, you know, people on the ground floor. And going back to that DNA study of the Bigfoot, they found out it's like angel DNA. It's like perfect DNA. It could cure any disease out there. So there's so much being swept under the rug, and Bigfoot is our connection to the creator. So they have angel DNA. They could end all of our problems and all of our worries, and we could really ascend to our next level of humanity. But I don't
How would
think
they come across? How did they obtain the angel DNA?
They got it from multiple teams. Like, Scott Carpenter submitted 6 samples. There was times that they reached into a dumpster and it cut itself. That's how they got blood, hair on barbed wire fences. I forget how they got spit. I think it was from like somebody's window. They got spit. There's so many ways. If you find a nest, you're bound to find hair. People go in deep in caves. If you know where these creatures are, the evidence is abundant because they exist. They're out there. They're 800-pound creatures, but there's been tales of them covering up their tracks with rocks and like long, like rake-like sticks, with long brushes that they just pull behind them. So they're aware that we know, and when you're out there and they can read your vibes, just like you were saying, they could feel you. So every time I'm out there, I try to just portray, positivity and just leak it from everywhere. And it's been successful so far. I've been ran out of the woods a few times with trees falling down, but that's after hours of being out there. I think they just had enough, but I've definitely stepped in some dark places and ruffled some feathers, Men in Black wise and, Creature in the Dark wise. But I'm just going full speed at this.
I'd be more afraid of the Men in Black than the creatures, though.
Me too. Sadly, I have to watch out for people. It's sad because some of my truths that I break out, it shakes people's reality because they are so far up the darkness, Do
you have one close friend? This is probably not a good idea to ask this in public, but do you have like one close friend that you tell everywhere that you go just in case you ever disappeared?
Oh yeah. I talk to a few people, especially after missing 411 and all that. I always check in with multiple people, and we are in a couple group chats of like UFO research crews and stuff. So I have a couple people that keep in touch, but the powers that be,
if something happened and nobody could like find out where you went, but it happens all the time. I mean,
right. I always just try to check in, just use the breadcrumbs from my Instagram and my post to see where I was going next. If
you ever disappear, you have my permission to communicate with me and Jason while we're doing a ghost hunt or an investigation.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, that would be some crazy fourth kind stuff, connecting other vibrations. But like I said, communication's more than just, words.
Yeah. Since we're actually on the mark of time, I'm not like in a super big hurry because I don't know. I don't think anybody comes on right after us. Might be wrong, but do you want to tell everybody where they can find your stuff or anything that you want to squeeze in there that like someone can find that is like an accomplishment or a product of yours that you can tell everybody where they can find it?
Yeah, well, check out my books on Amazon. If you search Eerie Swamps or Big Brother Bigfoot or Monsters and Mysteries or Connor Flynn, ConnorFlynn, they'll pop up. Bigfoot Anon on YouTube, Bigfoot Anonymous on Instagram and TikTok. I stay pretty active on those. But of course, I'm being shadow banned, so I'm not going to take off. Sadly, I've already accepted that. I need to get in the field. It's not going to be a social media star. I'm a real life person. I'm out here doing this stuff, and it's nice to slow down and chop it up like with these conversations because we are just energy, and us three are the only ones that could create this, and that's special, and that gets you somewhere. And I love just listening. Like in 2 months, I'm going to listen to this and I'm going to be like so floored. I just love the magic of coming together and, just the ability. And today's been a long day, Memorial Day, shout out to all the families that are staying strong through this. And, much appreciation to the ones that have fallen because they paid the ultimate price for our freedom. And right now, we are free in a way, but in a way we're not. And that's what I think a big thing is. We have to stand up against this tyranny, because that's what the brothers and sisters died for. And if we don't, then what the heck, So, oh my gosh, if I'm the crazy one, then wow, we all have a problem, because I'm trying to stand up for the soul and for the ones who just lost, They didn't get the fair shot, if it was the Native Americans, if it was the mound builders, if it was the soldiers, if it was some of the soldiers of overseas that, they were just defending theirs. I don't like war. I don't like violence.
Oppression.
I don't like bad negative, it's bad. And that's all dark forces. We need to unite as humanity, and the light would be so beautiful. And I don't know if it's going to be during our lifetime or the next life, but we're on to something. And right
Everyone
now, some of
tells
the
me
most
like I wear rose-colored glasses when I say that.
It's the signs come in every.
So impossible to like actually envision that happening. It's not like I'm saying, "Watch me, I'm going to turn into a bat and fly away." I'm just saying I could actually like a person even though they're different than me. That's it.
People have gotten so far, and the divide and conquer crap has, divided us. There's good people, and if there was a civil war, no one knows what side they're on because everybody's so torn in every direction. It's so sad. Just fight for the soul, and drink more water. Get rid of your microwave. I haven't had microwave in my house for 6 years. Look how normal I am. Don't you guys want to be like
Technically,
me?
I'm actually always griping about this, but I use it all the time. The cell phone. It's not good. It's not good for us to have these all the time on our person, in our pocket, freaking on our ears constantly. But
it's really bad. It zaps our brain. It zaps our future generations. And I keep mine out of my room when I sleep because I think it can like get into your brain during your dreams, and it just contamination, man, contamination.
It's like,
oh my gosh,
vibrations and stuff and energy that can make you stay awake at night and make you have anxiety and where you can't sleep and stuff. I know that's been scientifically proven. But
100%. And TV screens too, they give off special vibrations that are like suck your soul basically and not let you sleep. It's sad. All of our funnest tricks and trades have weird demonic ties, and that's why I'm just trying to find the angels in the clouds. And during all this UFO stuff, man, just stay straight, like don't fall for anything. They haven't given us the truth yet, so we don't bow into it now. I believe in extraterrestrials and all this, but let's not give them all the credit. This has been talked about, We're still looking for where the footage from, that plane and from the Pentagon was. I don't know. I think there was rockets and a lot of stuff, and 9/11 changed a lot, and even Pearl Harbor has a lot of theories, and the Vietnam War. There was Vietnam rock apes over there. I've talked to soldiers that have fought over there and have seen these creatures, and then the military.
What is it? Rock ape?
Yeah, the rock apes. They're like a 4-foot tall creature. It's a Bigfoot type creature that lived over in Vietnam, and the Viet Cong had to deal with them and the United States soldiers, and they killed some and they brought them back to base. And there's a lot of stories about them. But of course, the higher ups, they all said, "Oh, you guys are seeing things," and these poor young kids are trembling in fear, and then they say, "Oh, you guys are just smoking too much hashish." No, they're actually experiencing these creatures. So I'm just so sick of the higher ups.
Or they could have blamed it on sleep deprivation and PTSD and stress. They could have blamed it on anything, really.
Right, 100%. And I get told I'm only 28. I don't know anything. I'm like, oh my gosh, the ageism and all this crap is just, people yell out anything when they're scared, and people think that they're the only human beings, they're the only beings on this planet. No, Dog Man, Mothman, the Loch Ness Monster, the Mantis Man. There is so much out there. The Slender Man, fairies, trolls, gremlins, reindeer, Santa, elves, like. Come on, guys, change a couple letters in Santa, and what does this spell? Like, we are surrounded by weird, dark entities, and they want to make like loudmouth truthers look like they're crazy. It's so wild. Real patriots are being called terrorists nowadays, but there's terrorists acting as real patriots. It's the age of illusion, and it's tough to walk through, but it's a balance beam act every single day, and it starts with the truth. And Bigfoot is real. So is heaven. So is hell. There's a creator. We're not an accident. We're not soup. We dream. Deja vu is real. Magic is real. Ley lines. This earth is like a magnetic force field. It's.
I'm reading. There's still comments coming in and questions. I was gonna they said there's no one after us, so I was gonna go ahead and go to just a 9:40 at least, like 5 minutes over. There's Adam said you look like the singer from Lamb of God, which is hilarious.
Heck yeah, I'll look him up. I get called Wayne's World, the buddy from Garth from Wayne's World, Jay from Jay and Silent Bob. Yeah, I got.
You could remind me of him, kind of.
I got the crazy long hair. I haven't cut my hair in like 6 years, ever since I found out about the Native Americans and the ancient Australians and the ancient Africans. They stopped cutting their hair because it's antennas to the universe. It's like cutting a cat's whiskers. You just don't do it.
Yeah.
When the Native Americans started getting infiltrated by the military, they started doing these experiments when they'd go sneak up on them when they had their long hair, and they'd feel it. They'd wake up. Then they cut their hair off, and then boom, they got right to them and could slit their throat. So your hair is just so much part of you.
There's actually some schools here that are supposed to have activity.
And, the first thing they do when you get in boot camp, they cut your hair. It's sad. I definitely support the troops, but
that's something my daughter asked me the other day.
I support the troops, but the troops need to start supporting themselves too, because bad people are going into the service, and good people are not speaking up. So just be a good person, guys. Just be a good person, or eternity is going to eat you alive. Like, I can't put it more simple than that. Like, this is just a chapter, so make it as
everybody
as you
brothers
can.
And sisters.
Yeah.
100%. We're all energy under one sky, and I wish we were closer. Then we could feel so much more, and dreams and joy and soda and Frosties and popsicles would all feel better. It would all be better if we all felt more. And I think that's where we can learn from the Sasquatch. They are one with the earth, and that's why they are happy. They're not polluting. Us, we're making a bad intention into this plane, and it's so messed up. So we need to change our ways, or this earth is going to swallow us up.
And not intrude upon Bigfoot's territory to try to get $3 million, which is BS. Leave him alone and let him live his happy, best life, and let him, do whatever he does. Because obviously he's not hurting anybody. It's not like you hear every day that Bigfoot attacked this person, and Bigfoot hurt this person, Bigfoot killed this person. It's not like that. So I don't even see what the point is of actually going and getting in his lane, because he's minding his own business, going his own direction, not bothering us.
Yep. They're healing the planet, man. If you've seen the animated movies, Littlefoot or Smallfoot, Abominable, or son of Bigfoot, all the truth's right in those animated movies. They can heal the forest, they can heal their injuries, they can make things better. So can humans, but we're so infiltrated by our bad energy that, it's hard. There's a blockade. So we got to learn from these other creatures, and sometimes they don't approve of us. So yes, sometimes bad things do happen to good people. So just be safe, carry a personal locator beacon, always carry extra water, tell someone where you are. Follow David Paulides. He writes a bunch of stuff about missing 411 and people vanishing, and awareness is everything, because I used to do some stupid stuff, mushrooms out in the forest and camping out and not telling anybody. And then all the nights I spent, at dead end streets, it could have just been boom. So now I play a little safer by the rules, but now we like to still stir the pot a little bit, going to the Garden of Eden and meditating out there after dark, and Hawaiian baby wood rose seeds and potions.
Yeah, I need to look that up, but we're fixing to have to go. But I wanted to put this out there because we're doing a thing and they want us to try to incorporate it into every interview that we can. And I mean, this doesn't going toward you, but it's going toward anybody that's watching. We have a Fairfest Paracon, Salina, Kansas, at a Masonic temple. It is that I've ever seen. It's one of the biggest Masonic temples ever. It's got activity there. It's actually haunted, and we're having a Fairfest Paracon there, September 24th and 25th. If there's anyone that doesn't know about it yet, go to the Facebook page. It's called Temple Fairfest Paracon 2021 or Temple Fairfest Paracon, and it might be just Salina, Kansas or something like that. But if anyone wants tickets or anyone wants to know more information about how to get a vendor's booth or anything, or just to be involved or just to get VIP or just to come and hang out, look on there. If you want to know who the guests and the speakers and all that stuff are, go and check out the Facebook page, Temple Fairfest Paracon. Look it up and you'll see a red, white, and black logo, and it'll say Paranormal United Network on it. So we'll probably have you back on sometime. Yeah.
I wish I could go to that.
Hey, if you can go, come see us. It's a while from now. So, I mean, if you needed to prepare how to get there, yeah.
I'll definitely look into it. I'll see if some of my team could go. Maybe we could just road trip.
It's going to be a lot of
I'm very interested in the Masons because my great grandfather was a Mason, and there's a bunch of lodges around here. And I'm very interested because you look at some of the gravestones of George Washington. Freemason comes before president. Yeah, I wonder who runs this country, Yeah, that's pretty interesting, guys. But yeah, I definitely appreciate being on the show, and I've had a great time. Time flies. I feel like it was 15 minutes, but it feels like eternity too. We've went around the world and back. I'm going to be at Infinity Con this weekend, June 5th and 6th in Tallahassee. If anybody's in the Florida area, come see me. And I'm going to be at the Florida Bigfoot Conference in July. So you can come see the giant bone and some pictures firsthand.
I'm going to ask you for more information about that. I don't know if I can make it or not, but I want information. I mean, it would be cool if I could go to a Bigfoot convention. I'd like to go to one. But
yeah, that would be awesome. I just heard a noise outside too, so I don't know if someone's breaking my car or if it's Bigfoot pounding on each other.
But thank you, everybody. Join us again next Monday. We have Wayne from... God, I can't even think where he's from. He's from a paranormal team in the UK. Spirits Within.
Heck yeah.
He's going to be here with us next week. So everybody tune in. Thanks for watching. Keep it creepy. Bye.